Time to put Phil Spencer out to pasture. It looks like the good old days are gone, and we'll have to put up with a new head of Xbox. Yes, folks, you can swoon over the next head of Xbox, whoever she may be. And at the end of the day, maybe they'll have just as an intriguing smell. Hopefully can release Xbox fragrances, sign autographs, do all the stuff that Phil used to do, and hopefully interact with the fans the way that he does on social media, so everybody can lose their crap and talk about how they wish he was their real dad, because that's exactly what a Phil Spencer comment section looks like. And it does look like, indeed, Microsoft is lining up Phil Spencer's replacement as we speak. I cannot wait to get into this topic. It's definitely going to be a video you don't want to miss. Hey there everyone, I'm Crapgamer, and of course this is Crapgamer Reviews, your home for gaming news, opinions, reviews, and much more. You'll probably notice a few cool changes around here, but that shouldn't stop you from giving us a like and possibly consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. Thank you so much for choosing to spend some of your free time with me and my silly YouTube channel. It really does mean a lot. Now, Phil Spencer, whether you like the guy or whether you don't like him, a lot of people credit him with quote-unquote saving the Xbox brand. Now, I wouldn't go that far. I think that he really kind of played his role, and you could maybe even look at him as sort of a villain, because he was actually the head of Xbox Game Studios and just sat there when Matrick and everybody was deciding to go DRM and casual and things like that. He could have spoke up at any time if he really felt a certain kind of way about it. But now, according to a new GQ profile in which the executive shares his thoughts on the future of the Xbox division itself and reveals that he's thinking about who could replace him as his role of Xbox boss. Now, Phil Spencer has been a Microsoft employee for over 3 decades and the company's executive vice president of gaming since 2017. Clearly, as somebody who has been here for 33 years, I have more years behind me than ahead of me, he told GQ. But the longevity of this team, the sustainability of this team, there's nothing that's more important to me right now than that. Commenting specifically on succession, Spencer added, "You should do it when you think about the long-term health of the team, to make sure that the team is in a good place, that the culture of the company is in a good place, and that we're making the right decisions, who to bet on. That has got to outlive me." Later in the piece, Spencer discussed how his team views the future and revealed how Xbox flags its plans with various horizons based on their proximity. Horizon 1 plans are things that are happening today, he said. Horizon 2 are projects happening in a year or 3. And Horizon 3 are big ideas that might not happen for 5 or even 10 years. Spencer said that Horizon 3 projects are bets that probably won't work, but are important to have a team working on to ensure that innovation thrives in the future. "What I've learned is that it's also very risky not to take risks," he said. "You have to plant those seeds today because they're just not going to happen, and you're not going to be able to buy innovation easily." GQ also notes that the long-term strategy allowed for the creation of peripherals like the Xbox Adaptive Controller, which revolutionized accessibility options for disabled players. The profile comes on the same day as Microsoft is set to hold a special 20th anniversary Xbox livestream, which by the time you guys actually watch this would have already taken place. Now, I'm not going to try to scare everybody and think, oh, well, Phil's on his way out or anything like that, but clearly they probably have had some thoughts and discussions, and from the sounds of it, yes, have some discussions about who should supplant Phil Spencer and who would be next in line and things like that, and I think that makes a ton of sense to be able to go ahead and do that for multiple reasons. I think that it just makes sense. You could even have a situation where Phil's still on the board, but somebody else is running Xbox. Whether that would be good or bad, who knows, because his ideas are still going to be there. It's like, you're not going to be able to go, okay, now that I'm promoted to head of Xbox, I'm going to be able to go ahead and get rid of Game Pass and bring true exclusives back to Xbox platform and things like that. That's just not going to happen. It would be somebody who very much thinks along the lines of Phil Spencer and would very much be a woman. Because let's just be fair and honest about this. That's the way that things go on the Microsoft side of things now, right? Like, anybody who would have to replace Phil would obviously probably be a woman. And, you know, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I know people probably think, oh, well, Crapgamer is sexist or something like that. No. I always think the best person for the job should get the job regardless of what they are. But I also think people shouldn't get jobs based on, you know, gender or anything like that. They should just be based on qualifications. That's just the way it should be. And, you know, I also feel like Phil Spencer has had his ups and downs, but if he were to leave Xbox tomorrow, what would be his long-lasting thing that you or me or whoever as Xbox fans looked at and go, man, that's really something that he brought in there? Because if you think about it, to me, his long-lasting legacy would be the guy who brought in more hardware than software, right? I mean, sure, he bought some studios and stuff like that, but what games has he actually delivered yet since he's been head of Xbox, which was in 2014, so almost 8 years ago? What games has he actually brought in that we're actually playing, or that we've played, that he's, you know, spearheaded and brought us a part of, right? Like, that's the thing that I would kind of question. So I don't think that he's done a terrible job. I know people think that I hate Phil or something. I don't. I think Phil's probably a good guy. I think that he would be a perfect person to run like an Activision or a EA or, you know, a Ubisoft, a company like that. I just think that he's a bad choice to run a company like Xbox that clearly needs, you know, a little bit different type of thinking in terms of, you know, you have hardware, so maybe we can focus on the hardware. And trust me, I get that it's very admirable. And listen, playing stuff on a cloud or PC really doesn't affect me on my console. But at the same time, I also think that you should have some kind of onus on the console, and it seems like the console is almost an afterthought when it comes to like Phil and what they do and what they say. Like, hey, you want to do cloud stuff, great, but just don't make it the priority, right? I know that people think that, oh, that's the future, we have to accept that because that's the future. I always think that's kind of nonsense, right? The future is what we as consumers want. I mean, clearly, like, why didn't people just go, hey, the Xbox One original idea, DRM, all that stuff, that's the future, we should just accept it? Why did people fight back on that, right? Because we wanted our game ownership, we wanted all that kind of stuff. And the fact of the matter is, you don't get ownership with rental services and things like that, which, by the way, according to the article that Phil's put out today, or that they did with GQ, originally Game Pass was started off as a rental service, but publishers thought that it really kind of you know, devalued the games, and so Phil and company had to talk people and publishers into putting older games in there, and then that kind of sprung from what's happening right now, which, again, I think Game Pass is really good for a certain type of gamer, but I also think that it's probably not right for everybody. So it is a weird sort of situation, and I do think that, you know, us as fans probably have a lot of different things that we kind of look at and go, hey, that's a good idea, that's a bad idea. I know people think I hate Xbox. Not true. I actually love Xbox. It's very exciting to see them celebrate 20 years, especially since people thought they wouldn't last 20 years. So that's always great, and so many memories and things like that. I love it. It's so nostalgic to look back and kind of look at things and go, oh, well, things are really kind of going in a weird kind of way, you know? So undoubtedly, though, for me personally, Xbox saw its best years with the Xbox and the Xbox 360, but I digress. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. Please like the video, rack 'em up, fact 'em up, crap gamer 'em up. Crap Gamer out.